Welcome back to MC Motorsports here. As you can see, I cut my finger. No biggie, nothing new. Happens every time I'm working on something. But everything I have has a little bit of my blood in it. And doing a water pump today. I already did the other hub here. This was the passenger side. Took her up the road quick. I think my biplane sound is gone now. Didn't hear anything. Everything sounded good. Checked out good. So we're good on that regards. I got the old one out here. You don't want to take your clutch fan off before you go pulling the water pump off just because of clearance issues. I did not, just because I'm an idiot. So I ended up having to pull the alternator and more of the fan shroud just to be able to work everything out. And I had to cut a bolt that was here. It was an extra long stud. And that's the reason I cut my hand. Because I was cleaning up the surface on the front of the block here for the water pump. And a couple little tidbits for you. Disconnect the battery when you're doing anything on your vehicle. I did not, so the alternator, even though it's sitting over here, it is live. And one good tidbit for you, take your new water pump, and as you pull bolts out of your old one, drop them down in your new one. Because as you can see, there's two different size bolts, and that way it's easier to get the placement right afterwards. So now what I'll do here is I'm going to retransfer these bolts back into the old one. That way when I meet the new one, I can put the new one in without dropping all the bolts and losing the configuration. A little bit of corrosion in that one. And the other thing I like to do as well is for your gasket here, figure out how your gasket's going to go in. It's going to be just like that. But one thing I like to do, let me just double check, make sure it can't go the other way. It cannot. It's only a one-way gasket. Is I like to put, I lost my RTV right behind me. This is a good rubber gasket, so I'm not too concerned with it leaking. This is more just to hold it in place. I'm trying to beat a storm here. Calling for a good storm. And I didn't want to bore you guys with me removing the water pump. Although that was probably the more entertaining part. Bolts couldn't come off. Couldn't get the fan off. So I had to do that separate. I'll clip that in here. I ended up having to put it in my vise. Back again today. A bunch of the footage I did yesterday ended up not even hitting record. And I swear, one of these days I'm going to figure it out. I have one bolt here that, as you can see, it's still a little windy out. The bolt looks cool. We're going to give her a little lube. Anyway, as I was saying yesterday, before the storm rolled in and then before I realized I wasn't even recording anymore, I thought I was, but I guess I wasn't. Disconnect your battery cable. It's good practice and safe. As I'm sure you can probably see here, I have nothing disconnected. Well, it's one of those old adages, do as I say, not as I do. especially since I have the alternator loose, as you can see, because I couldn't get the fan blade off. But now would be a good time if you're doing the water pump and whatnot. Change your thermostat out, and also radiator hoses, especially if they're swelled like this. Go ahead and change them out right away. Now I'm going to do what I always do. I'm not changing them out. As to how much torque to put on these, I don't know. What feels right? That's the right amount. Sometimes it's bitten me. I've broken the bolts and had to pull back apart to get the bolts out. I'll put my alternator back on in place here. The awesome part of figuring out the old serpentine belt here. Nice crappy dirty funnel, has a crack in it. Oh, let's see how much of a mess I can make. Oh. Always great when it just splashes up in your face like that. Oh, we're gonna have to start her up and let her circulate so we can get the rest of it back in. The good news is the rattling's gone. And always watch your fan, because even though that's a plastic fan, that's still going to do some damage on the old digits. Yeah, that looks good. Pull out here and we'll see what you got. See what this old 4.7 can muster. Nah, probably not. But hey, yeah, we'll get on it. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta blow the cobwebs out. I wanted it more just to see if the temperature gauge was gonna do anything different. Now that we shut it off, you're gonna want to make sure you check, make sure nothing is leaking. Don't mind what I spilled, but no dripping. That's a good sign. Other than what I spilled, hose is hot, holding pressure. My weep hole is not weeping down there. There, you can see that bolt I had to cut off right over there. Well, hope you've enjoyed watching, and thank you. I appreciate it. Give the old like and thumbs up down there, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.